Well, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good middle of the night, whenever you're watching this program. And welcome to another scintillating episode of Porch Talk. I am Paul W. Marino, and my friend over here is Eugene Michaelenko. See, I almost forgot, but I remembered.
Very good.
So we are at the moment looking for railroad pictures.
Yeah, because the railroad is really important to North Adams, boy.
Yes, it
Northern
was.
Berkshire. And now they're trying to resurrect the train service to North Adams, passenger service. That's amazing. That would be great.
Yes, it will. Personally, I would like to see Berkshire Scenic Rail use the main line.
Really?
Yeah, well, go from here to, say, Hoosick Falls, New York,
Oh, that would be a
and
nice
then
ride.
come back.
That would be a nice ride.
Go through the tunnel to
Charlemont.
Charlemont or maybe Greenfield, and then come back.
How long would that take? What? By car, it's like an
I
hour.
do not know.
Because that's nice. It runs along the river, the Deerfield. And
Yeah, and it really is a scenic route that
Yeah.
way.
But I'm sure there's a whole mess of legal entanglements that the railroad has that wouldn't allow such a thing. And
I'm sure there are.
liability issues, lawyers. So
Help, lawyer. Okay, Joanne, would you please put the picture in front of us? Thank you very much. And I'm sure your audience is fervently thanking you. The question for tonight is, where was this photo taken? I can tell you it was taken in 1938 and the famous flood of that year. And I can also tell you that the water is flowing south. So this bubbled up out of the
sewer system? Did you catch?
no, it came out of the north branch of the river and is flowing south, hopefully toward the south branch.
Huh.
So, where was this photo taken? You may use whatever is in that space now as an answer.
Is that still there? Is this building still
Oh,
there?
yes.
Okay.
It's
is
still-
is that entranceway still here? Because that entranceway looks familiar. to me.
Yes, it is. It is still there. It is still in use. And it's a good deal drier now than it was when this photo was taken.
Right.
So, if you think you know when this photo was taken, if you have a wild idea, a stab in the dark, please give us a call at 664-4408. And if you can get it before the last few minutes of the show, you will have bragging rights for 2 more weeks. All right, Joanne, it's that unhappy time. Thank you. That's wonderful. And actually, I think my microphone might be a bit low, so I'll bring it up there. All right, so why don't we go to the slide? Thank you very much. And this, of course, is a train coming out of the west end of the tunnel. And it might actually be, it might actually be the very first train to come through the tunnel. The engine was the N.C. Munson, and it was later renamed. To be honest, I don't remember what the new name was.
Maybe they named it after the Hoosick Tunnel.
No, something like the Champion.
Oh. That's a really nice tunnel exit. They engineered it really well. Why is there, it looks like there's a train, tracks heading right into the pilaster of the building.
Well, for one thing, originally they only had one track going through, and later they laid two tracks side by side so that trains could go through in both directions.
At the same time? No, wow.
Yes. And of course, it doesn't look like this anymore because the railroad put two big wooden doors there.
Yep.
And it has something to do with ventilation, and nothing I completely understand myself. But those were eventually replaced with an overhead door. So if you go there today, this is enclosed by corrugated metal, and there's a door that's controlled in
Mechanicsville, New York.
further east. I'm tempted to
still
say
New York?
Lunenburg, but I don't think that's it.
Outside of Leominster.
All right, so let's move on a little further. Oh, and did you know that this was not the original entrance to the tunnel?
The North Adams side?
Yes.
I thought there was the eastern portal that had two.
Oh, there was that too, but this was not the original west heading.
Oh,
Joanne, could we see us again, please? Thank you. When you're digging a tunnel from both ends, the idea is, of course, for both the headings to meet head on. But if one heading is off kilter by, say, 1 degree, when they come together, they're not going to meet head on. And then you have to blast out this area. That puts an S-curve in the tracks. And S-curves cause derailments, even at low speeds. So what the original engineer did, Herman Haupt, he went over to the right of this and started the heading deliberately off kilter so that if they came together head on, all well and good. But if they didn't, they would at least minimize the S-curve. And I remember some college students telling me there's a cave in there. Well, that was not a cave. That was the original left heading. It was used during the construction of the tunnel to get tunnel spoil out. And then when the Shanley brothers took over, a blast went awry and it collapsed the inside of the tunnel. So that is of the Haupt heading.
yeah.
And so they had to wait until this was actually dug. And what they did was they dug down to tunnel level from above, blasted out the rock, drained it completely, and then built a brick tube going in, went back a little further, dug down to track level, blasted out the rock, such as it was, and drained out the porridge stone, put in another section of brick, and then kept going that way until they got to solid rock. And then they kept the tube going for, I think it was another half a mile or more.
I knew they had to put a brick tube in because there was the seat, it was mud and dirt, while the other side was all solid rock. So they had to protect themselves or protect the tunnel.
Yeah, so until this was built, or at least they got an opening into it, all the spoil had to go up the west shaft.
Have it put the picture back on. I don't want
I'm sorry?
to have a view through the. Very good, thank you. I didn't want to look at ourselves anymore.
Oh, all right. Excellent idea.
Oh, the roundhouse. All right.
Yes. Oh, that's lovely. Okay, this building over here with the pyramid and the tower, that is Union Depot. And there are actually two roundhouses present here. The one in the foreground is the one that was built by the Boston and Maine. And it's not a complete, well, I guess it is a complete roundhouse. It's,
A semi-roundhouse.
yeah, a semi-roundhouse. And there's a semi-roundhouse over here to the right.
Oh, I see it.
And if you're trying to figure it out at home, go to the far right of the big roundhouse. Oh, drat it.
Use the mouse. That works so much better.
What?
You convinced me to use the mouse. And I've used it. It's much better than using your fingers
All right.
because the screen is temperamental.
Yeah, but it doesn't show up there. But at any rate, go to this roundhouse and then go up. And the first building you come to is the roundhouse that was built by the railroad that came up from Pittsfield.
The Pittsfield North Adams Railroad?
No.
It's got to be. It can't be the other. There's only one train that comes up from Pittsfield.
Yeah, but it was the Boston and Albany. And what normally happened was that went west over the mountains, rather through the mountains to Albany. But they finally ran a line up here and had that roundhouse here. Unless Pittsfield and North Adams was absorbed by them.
It could have been. The North Adams Pittsfield Railroad is the first railroad line that came into Berkshire County from the Boston and Albany that was going through Pittsfield. And there's that all the businessmen got together to put together a slush fund for the railroad company to pay for the railroad to come up to North Adams.
Yeah, that's interesting because they couldn't go any further than North Adams. Oh, no, that's not true.
They could have gone to Wilmington, Vermont, right?
It could have gone, but they would have to go through the tunnel and get diverted to the Hoosick Tunnel in Wilmington. Now, this is how they could have gotten on to points west. This is the little tunnel, and its nickname was Hoosick's baby brother because it's so small and short in relation to the Hoosick Tunnel. This is 300-something feet long.
But it's older than the Hoosick Tunnel, isn't
That's
it?
right. It's why it's Hoosick's big brother.
Oh, I think you said baby brother.
Before they dug the Hoosick Tunnel, they had to get a line through from the area where the railroad yards were, or were going to be able to head west.
Right.
And so The thing that was in the way was Furnace Hill. This goes under Furnace Hill. And it really opened up North Adams to the markets of the West, even when the tunnel, the Hoosick Tunnel, was under construction over a period of 20-something years. And so it's cute that it's called Hoosick's baby brother, but it's actually Hoosick's big brother.
Right.
You know, compare me with my brother Ralph. He was the first one of three born. I'm the last of three born. And I'm way bigger than he is.
Better nutrition. Your mother had.
No, it actually has to do with the womb. When the firstborn is in the womb, he or she actually stretches it a bit.
It makes
so
room
that,
for the next guy?
yes.
Wow.
And that one stretches it a bit more. And then the third or more that come after it, each stretch a little more, so they are taller. You know, when they come of age, they are actually taller.
Huh. I'll have to check that out. I just got a picture of the LaFave family from Adams, and she had 16 children.
Oh, wow.
There was an uncle, a brother, one of those kids who I know was in my high school class, and he was in the same class with his two of his nieces. So,
Wow.
16 children.
Well, you know, my father told me once about a man who used to hold his uncle on his lap. His uncle was a
Right.
baby. Yeah. All right, moving right along. This, once again, is Union Depot. And somewhere I have, or I'll have to get again, another photo of this with horses and buggies lined up at one end.
I've seen this this station with soldiers going off to, I think, World War II.
That's entirely reasonable.
Yeah.
This came down about 1960, I'm thinking. Someone stole my mouse.
But it's not working. Oh, yes, there it works. I just want a bigger picture of the whole scheme of things. Interesting window configuration.
Now, what was built in its place, actually a little more to the north, was the American Legion.
So
And you have to wonder why. Why didn't they just remodel this building? They could have had a treasure of a building.
yeah, we'll never understand the urban renewal movement and what it did. That beautiful
this
Union
was-
Station in Pittsfield. God, that was a gorgeous piece of architecture. That's now gone.
All right.
Oh,
Now, this, I believe, is a picture of McKinley leaving Adams.
blow it up because it probably is McKinley, because we have another one of these with Teddy Roosevelt. Teddy Roosevelt was made some little pass through and spokes at the bottom there. No, that looks like McKinley there in the front. Yeah, that just look like Roosevelt. Now, this is now the Ashewoltecook Rail Trail on Park Street next to the Center Street Bridge. And the building behind it is the Plunkett Mansion, which was torn down in 1936 or 38
And that's the one that McKinley visited.
right, and stayed overnight at. Once it was torn down, that's where the first Big Adams supermarket was. And then when that burnt in 68, they built what was it was a Berkshire Bank and Trust Company, and now it's the Great Neck Federal Credit Union. But look at the throngs of people. Well, I guess the president would bring out everybody.
Well, yeah, this reminds me, we had 4 presidential visits in North Adams. And the first 2 were by McKinley. The second time he came, we put on a parade for him to watch. The next was Theodore Roosevelt. When he came in 1903, it was a driving rain. 8,000 people turned out to see him at Union Depot. And he gave a 6-minute speech from the back of the train. No record remains of what he said, but...
That must have been the same time he came to Adams, because he never got off the train, just was in the back of the train.
Yeah, that could be. He was actually on his way home from Williamstown. And so imagine standing in a driving rain and hearing a man speak without a PA system,
Right, yeah.
other than his lungs.
Yeah.
And
is this the same time that he was almost killed in a streetcar carriage?
I don't know. That was in Pittsfield.
Yeah, yeah.
And it looks like they're heading in the wrong direction.
Here, in this picture?
Yeah.
No, they're going south.
Okay. My mistake.
Oh, but this is McKinley. But
Yes.
I gotta see if that coincides of his visit to North Adams.
Actually, I think it was Roosevelt that was almost killed in
Yeah.
Pittsfield.
Yeah, Roosevelt, not McKinley.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up. So our last presidential visit happened in 1929. And actually, I'm especially pleased to know this story because at my mother's 100th birthday party, someone asked me, what's the most historical event in North Adams? And I dithered for a minute, but then I remembered it was Calvin Coolidge's visit in 1929. 3,000 people turned out on a beautiful sunny day to watch Silent Cal live up to his nickname. He spoke to 3 of them. First one to approach the train was former State Senator George Hastings, who shook his hand, introduced himself, and the president said, "I'm pleased to see you again." And then Mr. Hastings asked him a question. What the question was, I'll get to in a moment. Second person to approach the train was the mayor, oh drat, I hate when my brain does this to me, William Johnson. He introduced himself, the president shook his hand and said, "How do you do, Mr. Mayor?" Third person to approach the train was Boy's secretary of the YMCA, William Decker. The president shook his hand but did not speak. Now, the last person to approach the train was Herbert Walter Clark II, H.W. Clark's grandson. He was the second Boy Scout in the area to achieve the rank of Eagle. And he and his predecessor were both racking them up like nobody's business. They both went from tenderfoot to Eagle in almost exactly 1 year.
Wow.
And the reason was, at that time, becoming an Eagle Scout depended upon how many merit badges you had. But Herbert Walter was especially lucky because the question that Mr. Hastings asked the president was, "We have a Boy Scout here who just made Eagle. Will you pin the badge on him?" So he was boosted up onto the rear platform. The badge was handed up. The president turned it over, unfastened it, pinned it carefully to the breast of his shirt, turned it over, fastened it, turned it over again, smoothed out the wrinkles with a gentle pat, and said, "I'm glad you have accomplished this. Good boy."
Wow.
Yeah, and those were the last words he spoke that we're aware of in North Adams. So they stayed there on the rear platform. Someone handed up a bouquet to Mrs. Coolidge, who smiled and saluted the crowd with it. The president looked up the length of the train toward the engine as if wondering what was taking so long. Someone in the crowd called, "Say something, Coolidge," and was shushed by the guard. The guards were pacing up and down the track, just making sure people stayed back. The president again looked up the length of the train, and then finally the engineer signaled that he was ready to go. Herbert Walter hopped down, and the train pulled out. And what's significant about that is, to the best of my knowledge, Herbert Walter Clark is the only Boy Scout ever to have been made Eagle by the President of the United States.
Oh.
And where did it happen? Right
North
here
Adams.
in piddling little North Adams. And I say piddling by design because I'll bet that's the way most kids who live here think about it.
Right.
Oh, piddling little town. Nothing ever happens here.
That William Decker, that must be the namesake of the Decker, Camp Decker.
Yes.
I remember that as a Boy Scout, Camp Decker, North Adams. Was that off of South Church Street? Or
No, it was off of
West
West
Shep
Shap Road.
Right. Boy Scouting was so big in those days. There were so many Boy Scout troops everywhere, and lots of boys in them.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Yeah, I know you didn't. Yeah, you talked about.
Now, this is a view. There we go. This is a view of the North Adams Railroad Yard. I think it was 1920 something.
27, the flood of 27, yeah.
And
I know North Adams got hit worse than Adams did. Flooding.
how did that happen? You didn't have the chutes yet.
No, we didn't, but you have two branches, and I think
Oh,
both
yeah, that's
branches
right.
really overdid it. It did do damage in Adams. It washed out all of the old Renfrew field that was behind the Renfrew Manufacturing Company. But I don't think it did much else after that. Flooded mills and all that, but not like the 38 flood.
Now, one thing that I find interesting about this picture, which is no longer true, notice this car here on the right that floated off the tracks. I don't believe that modern railroad cars can float.
Wow.
And another thing, the big white building over here, more just behind this telephone pole, That was the Macmillan Paper Box Company.
Oh,
And the first woman ever elected to the North Adams City Council used to work there. Her name, oh my goodness, can't remember her name, but she was elected to complete the term of someone who had died in office. And she only served the 1 year, but it was something like she was elected in 1921.
oh, the year after they got the vote.
Yes, exactly. And so she served her term. She went to the meetings, and she went to the meetings that she was in charge of. And at the end of the year, she declined to run again. And she wound up working in the library eventually.
Did the Macmillan paper box company become the Jerish paper box company?
That's right.
It sure looks
It
like
did.
it. They used to be a big customer of mine years ago. We printed their box wraps.
Okay. Oh, and there's a bridge over here.
How can you tell that it's a bridge?
Well, it looks like it.
To the far left there.
Yeah. It looks like it's got the cross beams there supporting it.
So,
And these cables in the foreground here look like they're on a ship sailing in our in our little harbor. All right.
Oh.
This is one of my favorite pictures. This is the Church Street, I'm sorry, not the Church
Yes.
Street, the State Street Railroad crossing.
this is the reason why they built the Hadley overpass, isn't it?
Yes. And in the back, there you can see that building with a
Yeah, what's
tower, a mansard roof with a tower.
Yeah, what is that?
That's the Mansion House Hotel.
Where was that? On the corner of State and Main?
No, it was on State Street.
Yeah, okay.
And its claim to fame, so they claimed, was that no hotel in North Adams was closer to the railroad depot.
And look at the streets are paved with brick, and I see trolley car tracks. I'm assuming those are trolley car tracks.
Yeah. And I'd love to see North Adams brought back to this for just a little while.
Maybe with virtual reality, you can do it with your virtual reality goggles.
I would like the children of today, and for that matter, I'd like to see it myself, see what North Adams was like when the railroads were running full time, when cars had to stop so that a train could cross the street. And this is a westbound train heading for the Little Tunnel.
Tunnel, yeah. I was told that the trains could be very long and the wait could be very long as well. So was a real annoyance.
Well,
especially
I
for
wouldn't want to see
for
it.
car traffic.
I wouldn't want to see it from now on.
Yeah.
But yeah, and when we had trolleys, the wires that you see overhead are for the trolleys.
Yeah.
Unless, maybe I'm mistaken, because they used electric engines to draw the trains into North Adams from the Hoosick Tunnel when it was electrified.
Oh.
And so those wires are for the electric engines. And the wires ran all the way to the Little Tunnel.
Oh.
And then
Can't
they could
imagine
move
what
them on to other tracks.
that car in the foreground looks like the vintage of a late 20s. Mm-hmm. Maybe even early 30s, but
Oh, that's so beautiful.
even on a cloudy day.
All right, this again is Union Depot. It was called Union Depot because it was used by two different railroads. And in the foreground, you can see a couple of horses with carriages to act as taxis. And to the left, to the left, you can see the small roundhouse.
North Adams was a major railroad center. It was because
Oh, yes.
I thought there were like 5 railroad lines that went through North Adams. I know the Pittsfield North Adams, the Boston and Albany, the
Boston
Troy
and Maine.
Boston and Maine, and
Well, that'd be three.
the Troy and Greenfield.
No, the Troy and Greenfield did not come into North Adams.
Oh, how about the Wilmington, the hoot, toot, and whistle one?
There are actually 3 acronyms for that. There's Hoot, Toot, and Whistle,
Yeah.
Hungry, Tired, and Weary,
Oh.
and I can't remember the third one off the top of my head.
But it stood for who's it? Wilmington?
Here's what you do. Go over to the west portal. Walk out on the railroad trestle. There's actually a wooden sidewalk there that goes all the way across. When you get across, cross the track and head down into the woods toward the river, and you will come to a road that you can follow all the way to the Bear Swamp Dam. That was the track for the Hoosick Tunnel in Wilmington. And it used to go from Hoosick Tunnel all the way to Wilmington, Vermont.
Uh-huh. But it didn't come into North Adams?
No.
Okay.
All right. And we had trees then. Not trees that we let them grow for 5 years and then chop them down and grow something new. Oh, I think this is the end of them.
Oh, new folder.
Okay. Oh, what are you interested in?
What's on the menu? Want to talk about the Hoosick River, since that's sort of has
Oh,
some-
sure.
I'm curious what
I
pictures
don't
you
think
have.
I have put the flood pictures in here.
Yeah.
All right. Hoosick River. All right. Well, I do have a couple of flood pictures here.
Can't talk about the river, let's talk about the floods. Is that the State Street Bridge? No.
Yes, it is.
Oh,
State Street Bridge,
on the
a
right,
footbridge, and
the railroad,
railroad bridge.
The black one, yeah. How straight, those 3 bridges all in one place. That railroad bridge is probably still there, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Next time you go to Freight Yard Heritage Pub, Freight Yard Pub, you can see it.
Well, for that matter, if you go behind the
City Hall.
American Legion,
Right, you can see it there.
you're at one end of the bridge. And you can see the water isn't too deep. There's a man in the foreground wading through it.
What else can we say about this thing?
Mother Nature was not feeling her usual rage that day. Unless you were on Ashland Street. It's the area known as the Swamp.
Swamp, that's right.
And when it was coming down like this, or rather the river was overflowing like this, you did need some kind of a boat to get you around. Now, here's another flood picture. You want to guess where this was?
You want me to guess?
Yes.
I think I already know. Isn't it somewhere at Sprague Electric?
Yes, exactly.
And is this the place where they have it marked on the wall with the height of the flood of 38? You come across a bridge
Actually,
there? There's a spot where
they used to have it marked all over the place. Down where the coat room is now, I was in there when there were just boxes of electric motors there. And on the columns, they had it painted where the water level was in particular years.
I think I've seen that. And I look for it now, and I can't find it when I go to Masmoka, unless I'm looking at the wrong spot. But I thought there was only one bridge across the river there.
Yeah, that's the thing. That bridge is still there, or at least its successor is still there. This was in, I think, 1958 or 59. And so when you're in the first courtyard, you go almost all the way to the parking lot, and there's a right turn there, and there's a footbridge going overhead.
Yeah.
Not far, but it's there. You go through there. This is the bridge that you come to.
Okay.
And one way you can tell that is notice the nifty shadow there coming off the top of it.
Yeah, the bridge.
Yeah, that is the compression pipe.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Actually, they have a lot of compression pipes there. All right, this is another of my favorite photos.
Yes, it's a nice one. It's a good one.
This is 1911, looking toward the Eagle Mill. And when you look at the insurance maps, all along the river on both sides, there's blue. And you might think that, oh, it's blue because of the river. It's not. Blue represents stone, as in stone walls. And if you look here just under the mill, you can see that stone wall, that stone retaining wall.
Right. That went up in a spectacular fire. I remember there's a great picture. The transcript printed it in color on the front page of this place in flames.
Oh, yeah. Across the street where Domino's is, there was a service station with what they called red ball service. The half of the ball that was facing across the street melted away.
Oh.
So they had half red ball service after that.
And who owned the mill at that time, do you know?
Yes, it was Shapiro Waste Material.
It was, okay. Because I remember I was in Morris Alpert. He had North Adams Junk Company down by on Ashland Street, and he had a picture of this in his office of the Eagle Mill on fire, and he immortalized it. And I thought he owned part of that, but he may have had stuff stored there as well.
It's possible. And what did we get in its place? A gas station.
An empty one. That's not even a gas station.
Well, it's an empty one now.
Yeah.
But there was a lovely young lady that worked there, and I used to buy my gas from her.
Oh, nice. Also, this mill had, when Lewis Hine came through to take pictures of children workers, I believe he took several pictures of the children working in this mill.
Yeah, I know we took pictures of them in the Delft-Tree Mill, which before that,
The Eclipse, isn't that the?
yes,
the
thank you, the Eclipse
yeah.
Mill. He may have taken pictures in the,
I know he took pictures of the Berkshire Mills in Adams,
yeah,
and he
yeah,
also took
but
pictures, I believe, in the mill in North Pownell, where he found the
the Windsor
daughter-
Mill.
Oh, the Windsor Mill too. Yeah.
And
So all
then,
these
of
pictures,
course,
I believe,
there's
are now
this.
in the Library of Congress.
That's cool.
So.
And of course, behind us over here is where Canal Street is.
Are they still there? They're still at, are those buildings there?
I don't think this one is, but this one in the back, I'm sure is.
And I remember there used to be a big auto parts store there, but now it's an artist.
Yeah.
Artists own it, the gallery, studio space.
And as I understand it, the raceway started in the Windsor Mill, went through the Windsor Mill, and then its tail race became the raceway for this mill.
Right.
And this hole here, that might be a water outlet, but actually I believe it went down River Street. The tail race went down River Street and then serviced at least one other mill further downhill.
So wait a minute, are we looking at the Hoosic River here, or is this still the
Yes.
canal?
This is the Hoosic River. Before the flood
Right.
protection chutes were put in.
Okay, so this has just come from
Willowdell.
Willowdell, okay, farther down, okay, behind, behind what was used to be Aubuchon's, okay. All right.
All
Okay.
right.
Because Canal Street, I figured there was a canal, so, and I'm assuming the canal entered into the
It's
Hoosic-
possible there was a canal.
And that entered Hoosic River there.
Now, this is, excuse me, this is the Eclipse Dam before the modern dam was built.
Oh.
And I think that was built at the same time that the flood protection chutes were built. I keep trying to say flood control, but there's no such thing.
Sure, you can control a flood, can't you? So yeah, the Eclipse waterfall or catch basin, whatever.
Yeah, but you can see there's a dam
It's
here.
much more spectacular, yeah. It has a huge ellipse of a shape.
This is the south branch of the river. These buildings over here
It's on the left side.
on the left belong to James Hunter Machine Company. In the back there, you can see it reflected, is Union Depot. And over here on the far right are the buildings that are going to become Heritage State Park.
Freight yard, yeah. Oh,
Now see what you've done.
my God. I'm trying to get this pic. What do you think this is right here?
That's the Mansion House.
Oh, the mansion house and the
Mansion House Hotel.
hotel. Okay. Still on, okay.
Now, I've got a story to tell about this photo. Not about this photo in particular, but my father knew it when it was like this. At the time that he was going to school, they were going to the State Street School, which is still standing up on the hill to the right. It's now an apartment block.
Oh, yeah.
But
And it's brick, right?
yeah, and so he went there, and what's now the area where Noel Field is was a dump, what you might call an unsanitary landfill.
Right.
And, well, because it was all junk, it was a dump
People
there.
just threw junk there, yeah. Right? That was,
So some of the older boys had built a raft, and my father and his brother, I think it was Uncle Jimmy, were offered a ride on the raft before school. Well, they didn't need to be asked twice, so they hopped on, and they're wafting down the gentle Hoosic. They passed under a bridge and saw their teacher walking overhead and made the mistake of calling out to her, "Hi, Miss So-and-so!" And then...
she was not amused.
No, she was not. And at some point, they ran into rapids, and the older boy got scared, told them to lie down, and he wrestled the raft over to the shore where the truant officer was waiting. And by way of inviting the younger boys into the car, he grabbed the older boy by the ear and threw him in.
Oh.
So they were brought back to school where the teacher scolded them out, "You naughty boys playing hooky." And then she gave them the death sentence. She sent them home. Well, the older boy had an idea how we can solve this problem. Let's climb up onto Coca-Cola Ledge. And when we see the kids coming out to go home, we'll go home and no one will be the wiser.
Good plan.
Yeah, that's what they did. And when they saw the kids coming out, it never occurred to them that the kids were coming out for recess. So they went home, and my grandmother said, "What's wrong?" "Oh, nothing's wrong." You know, and so they were diddling around for the rest of the day. And then when the kids did come home from school, one of the girls told her what had happened.
Squealed.
And she started beating the fertilizer out of them. And about the same time that she was running out of steam, Dad got home and he took over. And when I first heard this story, didn't anyone even ask for your side? Nope.
Child abuse. They should have called DSS. Back to the pictures.
No, this is the same. No, this is the same picture, but it's a wider shot. And you can see the buildings over here that make up Heritage State Park still being used to offload cargo. Okay. There's a nice picture. That is the Eclipse Dam in full flood.
Wow.
And we have,
That's quite the drop.
yes, it is.
That's what gave North Adams all its water power.
Yes, indeed. So we have about 3 minutes left.
Yeah, we gotta
See
get
what
back to
else
the
we have.
picture.
Oh, this is the end of this series.
Perfect timing. Let's get back to the mystery photo because I'm curious as where that
Yes,
is.
so Joanne, would you please put that in front of us? All right, so for those of you who felt you had an idea and you wanted to take a wild guess, you're too late. That is where the pizza place is now.
Colonial Pizza, it's called.
Yes, Colonial Pizza.
At the corner of Center and Eagle.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
North Church or Eagle? What is that
No,
street?
it's
It is
Eagle.
It is Eagle Street.
So the water here is actually flowing down Eagle Street.
I recognize the entrance with that beautiful curved roof, ceiling.
Oh, yes. And the glass
Is it-
blocks up above.
Is the glass block still there? I got to take
Yeah.
a drive-by. And it says it's a pharmacy? Who's
Yeah,
pharmacy?
it was Hirsch's Pharmacy
Ah.
when this photo was taken in 1938.
Nice entrance to a store. That little semicircle window over the door, too, is really a great piece of design.
So, thank you much for joining us today, folks. No.
What's wrong?
That's what I want. Eject.
Oh,
So, thank you for Joanne for directing.
thank you, Joanne.
We love you more every day. And thank you for being here, Eugene.
Thank you for being here, too.
Oh, you're quite welcome. And we will see you in 2 weeks with more photos here on Porch
Porch
Talk.
Talks.